Welcome to my book wrap up for April. I have some books that I really liked and some that I really didn't this month. Go ahead and check out part 1 if you want the first few, and we'll go ahead and get started. Let's go on with Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. I gave this maybe 3 stars. It followed a woman named Maria Owens, who was raised by this woman, Hannah Owens, and taught witchcraft. And then it follows her journey as she falls in love with this man and follows him across the ocean and finds out that he is a magistrate guy or prosecutor, whatever, judge guy in Salem, and she gets tried for witchcraft. And anyways, it follows her story. It's interesting, it's got some witchcraft, it's got some good world building, but I just kind of was a little bored. I don't think I'll read the rest of the series, but if you really love historical witchcraft novels, this is yours. Let's see, I also read Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey, and I gave this 3 stars. I went into it expecting more of it talks all about a woman who follows the last migration of the Arctic terns and charters a fishing boat because it's in the future where global warming has killed off all of the animals and birds. And I was kind of expecting something a little different. I was thinking it was going to be more of a let's just follow the birds and the scientific ramifications of extinction, something, I don't know. Instead, it was more of a personal, this is where her life has led her and her past traumas and why she's on this fishing boat in this dangerous time, which is fine and could have been really good, but I found it a little predictable. There was some stuff that happened in the first chapter, and I called one of the big major reveals right at the end. I won't tell you what it is just in case you read it, but 3 stars. It was fine. I read the book Real Life, 2 stars. I don't even want to talk about it. It was a bleak book. Not much happened in it. It was boring. If you want people talking about their life and abuse with nothing happening, no good ending, and then some like random scenes of borderline sexual assault in it, go ahead, but I did not like it. There were scenes I just skipped. Not a fan. Skip that one. Okay, the next one was the best book ever. I read Cast by Isabel Wilkerson. So this is 5 stars. Excellent book. It looks at 3 different caste systems. We've got the caste system in India. We've got the caste system in Nazi Germany. And then we have the caste system in the United States. And it goes through each of the groups and the history and how they are similar and the history of the US and how it's influencing life today. Just so good, so good. I think everyone should read it. 5 stars. I have like 1 complaint, only 1, and it's that she begins and ends the book talking about the 2016 election and the rise of Donald Trump, which I thought was excellent, but I wish that it had only been at the end so it could lead you in a little bit, because I want to recommend this book to everyone, and I worry if I recommended it to someone who maybe supports or supported Donald Trump, they might feel off-put by the first chapter, and I want to lead them into the conclusions. I don't know. It's an excellent book. Everyone should read it. So well researched. Just fantastic. 5 stars. The next book I read was Here for It, or How to Save Your Soul in America by Eric R. Thomas. I gave this 4 stars. It was very cute. It's apparently this guy, I've never read any of his stuff, but he writes for Elle magazine and does a column called Eric Reads the News. And it was cute and fun and kind of light, and we got some interesting looks on being Black and queer, and also very religious and Christian and how that plays into his life. And I really love when I see people of different backgrounds really looking for meaning and religion in their lives, and I thought that was great, so I enjoyed it. The next one I read was The Guest List by Lucy Foley, and this one, okay, great setup. It was fun. We're on an island. There's a wedding. We're bouncing between perspectives of a bunch of different people. And someone at the end of the wedding is going to end up dead. So, who's it going to be? Who's going to be the dead one? Who's going to be the murderer? Who knows? I thought it was kind of fun. Almost a little too convenient. It was fine as a study of the people if you're reading all the characters and you're like, oh, I want to know about their backgrounds. But as a mystery, it's just predictable. I mean, wasn't that hard to tell who was going to kill who and why. Also, it was so interconnected that it seemed contrived. So 3 stars, good, bad, somewhere in there. It's fine. And then we also have Nobody Will Tell You This But Me, a true, as told by me story by Bess Kalb. And I gave this 4 stars. I thought it was very sweet. The author had saved all of the voicemails that her grandmother had left her. And her grandmother passed away, so the author, Bess, wrote this book as a letter from her grandmother, Barb, to her, Bess. So it's from the perspective of her grandmother, and thrown in are the transcripts of the voicemails. And I thought it was very sweet, and it was like a love letter to a relationship between a grandmother and her granddaughter, and I thought that was just lovely. I mean, every once in a while you just need a book that just lightens your spirit, right? So much fun. I loved it. Right, so I read the book When Time Stopped, a memoir of my father's war and what remains by Ariana Neumann. Now, this was an excellent book, 5 stars. It follows Ariana's discovery after her father died, her intense research into her father's past. He left her a box with some papers, and her search to find the family and put together the pieces of what happened during the war. And so in 1941, the first Neumann family member was taken by the Nazis in Czechoslovakia, and by the end of the war, out of the 34 Neumanns in Czechoslovakia, 25 were murdered by the Nazis. And it's a horrific tale, but also so human, because it's Ariana looking for her family and making those connections, because she didn't even know until she was much older that she had Jewish heritage. Like, she didn't know that was a part of her family. And to see her connecting with her dad through that, even though he'd passed on, and just seeing also her recollections of her dad and how hard it was for him to come to terms with it. He ended up surviving the war by faking papers and working in Berlin throughout the war. So his story is incredible. And then afterwards, he moved to Venezuela, and that's where Ariana grew up. This is an excellent book. It's really well researched, and it really just shows the power of family history and that connection, and that researching your own family is meaningful. That these are stories that, sure, you might have read another book about similar events. If you've read many books about World War II or the Holocaust, you have probably read very similar books to this. But I loved that aspect of the family connection, that she was really reaching out across time and across countries and really understanding and learning more about herself, and that these things are a part of her, even when she didn't know them all growing up, that your family is important. And so I loved it. I think it's excellent, a great reader for anyone. So I read the book Conditional Citizens on Belonging in America by Laila Lalami, and this was excellent, 4.5, 5 stars. I do recommend it. It has very similar topics as the book Caste that I read earlier in the month. So if you're going to pick one, go with Caste. I think that one's the more rigorous book. It follows the author as a Muslim woman from Morocco on her journey to becoming a U.S. citizen, and after, and what that has meant, especially post 9/11, and what things have still been a struggle that she thought were going to just be a given once she became a citizen. And then also, she just has a really well researched book into what is a conditional citizen, what are people that are not given all the rights that citizenship should entail. I really liked this. It was excellent and it felt very personal to me. Being here in Barcelona, I am a migrant here in Barcelona. I don't speak the language as well as I should. I don't understand everything. I've had to do government paperwork. There's a lot. I've been far away from family, so I related very well to a lot of the things, but it also was really opened my eyes to how much privilege I have living here and not having some of the problems that a lot of migrants and immigrants experience in the United States. So I felt like this was very personal for me and very well researched. It definitely recommend. It was a very good book. And that's all I've got for April. So thanks for coming along, listening to my recap of the 15 books that I read this month. And I will be back soon in the next few weeks when I have read enough books to merit another video.